All right, buddy, what's going on?
Nice to meet you.
My name is Chris.
Milad, pleasure.
So I wanted to capture this moment as our first interaction because I feel like it's a interesting point in time where I'm learning for the first time. You have a large background in athletics and general high performance, right? Mm-hmm. So I just want to understand how you've been able to get to this point. Does recovery play a role? You must have insane high stress tolerance and all of that stuff. So I'm just going to be kind of going through questions of that nature. Yeah. But for those of you that don't know you, can you give us a brief introduction?
Yeah, I mean, my name is Milad. I'm 35. I'm a professional boxer fighting at a Grant's Boxing Club here in Toronto. I started boxing when I was 29, turning 30. This is the second sport that I've turned professional in. I was a professional soccer player growing up.
Where?
I played all over the world. I played in the States, I played in Canada,
Wow.
I played in Sweden, I played back home in Iran. I went to University of South Carolina in the States on a soccer scholarship, so I did all that. I've had a lot of experiences with treatment and therapy and injuries as well. Actually, an injury is the reason why I had to stop playing soccer. I tore my patellar tendon and my MCL, medial collateral ligament.
How did that happen?
Lots of wear and tear.
Okay.
I was in school in the States, and I tore my MCL, and rather than treating it, I just got a bunch of shockwave therapy and cortisone shots just to kind of get me to continue playing, and not knowing the long-term effects of that and not being able to access information as you can nowadays to be able to see the effects of what I was doing to my body then.
So you didn't know if you were doing the right thing or the wrong thing.
Exactly. I was just kind of being told by the businessmen of the school that this is what you need to do to be able to play tomorrow. You know, we just need you to get you on the field, so this is what you got to do. And obviously being naive,
so when
16,
you get money
17,
involved,
18-year-old, I was like, yeah, sure, I want to play. Who cares about my body? I'm invincible, right? But now as I'm getting older and I'm in such a more physically demanding sport, you know, it being boxing, I've understood that the only way for me to be able to last in this sport is to take care of my body. I got 3 kids now, so I don't want to be, you know, a
3
walking
kids club.
stone.
I got 3 kids as well.
Exactly. I don't
See
want
the
to
bags under our eyes?
I mean, these might be from sparring today.
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
No,
Definitely.
This is just exhaustion, right?
Yeah, I'm lucky I got a really supportive wife. I mean, that's a big key as well. But yeah, I mean, recovery is really, really important in a combat sport like boxing, because it's not natural to be, you know, battering each other up, right? It's a very non-natural thing to be doing. So, you know, proper nutrition, proper sleep is a very big one. Stretching and, you know, taking care of those inflamed parts of your body. I've learned the importance of it much more as I've gone more experience in this game.
You know, I like to say that some people will wake up to the realization that they need to take care of their body, or you're not going to be able to perform to where you think you can or to your potential, right? So people wake up to that realization at different points in time in their life, because in biology, age 30, right? You're 36, 35?
35.
35. I'm 35 as well, right? When you get to this age, this magical number, age 30, the body starts to slow down a little bit. So the things that you used to be able to get, kind of, you can do it and you can kind of get by without dealing with the consequences. Bro, that's a young man's sport. You get to this age 30 and you start to physically start feeling different, right? Absolutely. So everybody wakes up to this realization that I need recovery. I need to heal my body to be able to perform. For a lot of people, stress and having a low stress tolerance gets in the way. So my question to you is, do you think stress is a good thing, or do you think stress is a bad thing?
I think it's a parasite.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a
Tell
parasite
me about it. Yeah.
that not only affects you physically, it affects you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I think stress is a terrible thing. But stress all has to do with how you're able to control it, right? It's in your mind. Do you necessarily have the mental stability to be able to deal with that stress? Or do you have the ability to cope with it and continue moving on, right? There's a lot of different ways to deal with that. But just something I just recently kind of came to the realization was, when we get injured as athletes, we're always thinking, oh, I got to get better to get back onto the field, or I got to get better to get back into my sport. And then once you get back, you just continue doing the sport until you're injured again. Then once you get injured, you're like, oh, I can't wait to get back. But now I've hit the realization that, how do I not get injured? How do I not allow my body to be stressed to the point where it's physically not able to do what I'm asking it to do? You know, so that's where I'm trying to get better at, and I'm trying to get smarter at it, and it helps working people like you, because that's where you can teach me how to take care of my body.
A lot of people get caught up in what's called a hamster wheel, right? Where like they get injured, they take some time off, and the time off is never like, it's disproportionately inadequate compared to like how much time you spent performing and effort and loading the body. So we put like 90% load on doing more and effort and like very little towards the healing, right? So what happens is that we kind of neglect the healing, and it's just perpetual. We keep doing the same thing. We keep doing the same thing until you get to this point where like, now you're 35. And you just physically cannot continue without really taking a step back and being like, look, I need to unload my body. My joints need a break. I need to dial in my nutrition to be able to get more out of my body.
Absolutely.
Right? So when it comes to stress, was there a moment in time in your life where you thought that stress was gonna break you? I mean, the knee was like a good example.
For sure.
Literally broke.
Yeah. I mean, when I tore my knee apart, I figured that that's it. I could never play a sport again. I'm done. There's no chance, because the foundation of your movement.
Was that in soccer?
Yeah, it was
indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor. Yeah, I only played outdoor. I wasn't really an indoor soccer player.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was outdoor. It was knee-on-knee collision, a lot of twisting, bending.
So
I was a goalkeeper.
Oh, you were a goalkeeper.
And it's a lot of falling and diving and whatnot. So having little injuries and ignoring them because they weren't necessarily restricting me from playing. Meanwhile, it's painful, right? But it's not restricting me, so I'm just going to continue playing.
It's just annoying.
Adding that stress to it every single day, not understanding the cumulative effects that it has to me. So yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible, and it got me to the point where, I had multiple surgeries to my knee. I did, years of physio, but I had done so many years of damage and stress to that joint and to that ligament and to that knee that now it's just kind of impossible to go reverse 20 years and go back to what it was when it was
That's a funny thing. I had a client today. This guy weighs 320 pounds.
God bless him.
But he's jacked.
Wow.
Like his goal is to bench press for like 2-3 reps, 5 plates.
Wow.
But the reason why I bring that up is that he's struggling right now. And he's struggling because his body is like a walking, it's like one big piece of muscle. He's very stiff, very rigid. And I told him today, he's playing a game, okay? It's a really messed up game. It's called the catch-up game, where in life, when you let stress layer itself, and stress does that, it compounds. It's like a snowball that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. When you play the catch-up game, what ends up happening is that it will cost you more money, more effort, and you will have to sacrifice more, and you will get such little results because you let it get to that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I totally agree with that.
You agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah.
So the body pain that you're dealing with, is it the knee? Is that still bugging you?
No, my knee is good now. I mean, I don't use it as much being a boxer. It's mostly the upper body movements I have. But as being a tall 6'5" guy in my weight class, I like to fight really long.
Wow, you're 6'5"?
Yeah, so because I like to fight long, obviously I'm using my jab arm much more than many other fighters. And I've developed a little bit of chronic pain in my left shoulder that at the beginning years of my boxing career I ignored again. That stupid decision of ignoring that little bit of pain that you feel and just thinking it's okay, I'm going to keep pushing. But now it's gone to the point that I can't even sleep facing a certain way. I can't move certain directions when I'm in bed or when I'm just trying to pick my kids up. Certain things bother me. But obviously adrenaline is a really cool drug that we all have. The second I step into that ring, I don't feel anything. I feel invincible, caffeine, right? Yeah. Exactly. But then second I'm out of that ring, I'm like, oh my God, my shoulder's on fire. What the hell? Where was that pain for the past 30 minutes I've been fighting, right? So I think now I'm starting to get to the realization that it's not worth it. It's just strictly not worth it. It's not worth ignoring the signs and symptoms that my body is screaming at me. It's telling me, hey, listen, hello, I'm hurt. Help me out here, man.
Do something about it.
No, don't worry, be quiet. This is more important. But
shut up.
Yeah, so like you said, at 30, things change, and it's true. I'm not able to recover as fast. I'll have a hard session today. Tomorrow morning will be a little bit difficult to get out of bed. And that realization on its own really sucks, right? So you're trying to constantly fight that battle in your mind that, no, I'm not old anymore. I'm still young. I'm still young.
You ever heard of a thing called your biological age?
Yeah, biological clock, for sure.
So something similar. I'll define it in case we're talking about two different things. So there's like your birth age, and then there's your biological age, which is two different. Your birth age, you're 35. You can go through such a stressful life. Bro, you have 2 competitive high-performance careers, right? Your biological age is probably like 55.
60, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And that's just the reality of things. So what ends up happening is that it starts to become very clear. Your body is struggling to perform, and not for you, but like in general, when you go through so much stress, the body is impaired to perform to where it can be performing, just based on the fact that it's struggling to heal. So to get more out of the body, you actually need to take a step backwards and let the body kind of recover and replenish itself, and then you can start crushing it.
For sure. So like I said to you, when I first started boxing, I had a lot of learning and catching up to do. So I was in the gym hard, working hard 3-4 hours a day, pushing. I turned professional and I was like, okay, now I got to even step it up even more. I had my first 2 fights and I realized, okay, you know what? I think I need to actually dial it down a little bit. I need to take a full month off of absolutely any boxing. And I did that after my second fight. And I didn't do anything. All I did was just sit at home with my kids, take them to school, come back, do the average chores around the house and whatnot. And I felt so much better when I went back to the gym.
Yeah, crushed it, eh?
It's not necessarily realistic. I can't do that all the time because, timing comes off and all that in boxing. It's sweet science. There's a lot, things that are incorporated in the sport. So taking time off is not realistic, but it really showed me the value of rest. It really showed me the value that, hey, you need to tone it down and dial it back a little bit to allow your body to catch up. You're not 20, 15 years old anymore, right?
How's your sleep?
Very good. So I go to sleep,
Oh, wow.
I go to sleep at pretty much 9 o'clock every single night, 9:30 latest, and I'm up by 6:37, and I have a really strong sleep. That's a big change I made when I turned 30.
Yeah.
Is to focus a lot on my sleep and to not go to sleep past 9:30, 10.
So I'll take it to the next level. So you sleep for 8 hours?
Yeah.
Minimum,
Minimum,
right?
yeah.
Do you wake up throughout the night?
No.
No?
No.
How do you feel waking up in the morning?
Incredible.
Yeah?
Incredible.
You're the outlier.
Yeah.
Most people, when it comes to the subject of sleep, they might get 8 hours of sleep, but then they wake up periodically throughout the night. And they might get 8 hours of sleep, but then they wake up feeling like crap, which doesn't make sense because I slept for 8 hours. How does it make sense, right?
I mean, to be honest, I've done a little internal study on my body to learn why I need to get this extra sleep. And I noticed that when I was younger, I wasn't necessarily following the perfect diet plans. I wasn't drinking as much water as I am now. I wasn't thinking as positively as I am now, right? I had all these negative thoughts running through my head. I was just kind of eating whatever's around and just trying to get by till I can get to the next training session and whatnot.
It's a young man sport.
Exactly. But now as I've gotten older and I've realized this is like it's like a car, right? I'm like a little bit of an older Chevy Cadillac. I gotta check the oil more often. I gotta check the brakes, the tires, the shocks. You gotta take care of this car a little bit better than you are going to a brand new 2025 Chevy Tahoe or whatever it may be, right? So I've realized that I gotta listen to my body more. So as I've started to sleep, I realized I'm waking up a lot in the middle of the night. What's happening? Why am I waking up a lot in the middle of the night? So I started to make adjustments to my daily. Exactly. So I had to make adjustments to my daily life schedule to be able to allow myself to really shut it all down when I go to bed. Making sure I'm not drinking too much right before I go to sleep, so it doesn't interrupt my sleep having to go to the toilet, right? So just these little minor adjustments that I've made have incredibly helped.
Do you find that you stress easy? You seem like you seem to me, and I know you for just a first impression, you seem very chill, very calm, right? You obviously have this other side to you when you're an athlete, but do you take things, minor things, even as a parent? Do they get under your skin easy when you have the parent hat on?
To be honest, Chris, I know we just met, but I've had a very colorful life. I've traveled the world, I've been through a lot of good, bad, really bad, really good. I've seen it all in personal life and finance and everything. And I think because of the experiences I've had as an individual, not as an athlete, it's kind of shaped me to be a much calmer parent. And because I'm a much calmer parent and my wife has the same demeanor as me, my children are also really calm and chill and relaxed. So my house isn't one of those houses. Yeah, we do have 3 kids under 4 years old. But if you come into my house,
sent me a funny video yesterday, man.
Exactly. If you come into my house, you're not going to hear kids screaming and running around everywhere.
Yeah.
You're going to see my son playing with his cars, my daughter painting, and my newborn just kind of staring at the stars above his little crib. So it's a very chill environment, and it's because of the demeanor that I've kind of been forged into, right? It's because of the crap that I endured growing up. It forced me to realize that the little things that I'm going to face daily that should stress the average Joe, not really that important. It's not going to make an effect on the grand scheme of things. So I don't allow that stuff to enter my.
You know what I call that? I call that your stress tolerance, right? So your lifestyle or your life up until a certain point must have been so stressful that your bullshit meter, like it takes a lot more to get to you, right? So then you get to like your personal life. It's like, you guys, this is not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that serious,
not that personal, right?
We're healthy, we're breathing, we got food on our plate, we have a bed to sleep at night. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
Yeah,
nothing else matters.
Very true.
Really.
Very true. I want to ask you just 2 more questions. A lot of people, so the average person tends to think that they work a 9 to 5, right? You're doing this full time being a boxer, right? We were just talking about that before. The average person likes to work like a 9 to 5, and they're very sedentary. But then outside of that work, they get to the gym for that 1 hour, right? And they kind of think that I can be sedentary all day, but if I work out for the 1 hour, I can kind of like get by and still kind of be healthy, right?
That's the rat race.
So yes, that's what I like to call it.
The rat race.
So you in your profession, are you active just in training, or do you take that into your lifestyle?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I've had to make adjustments to my sleeping, my eating, my stress tolerance, all that, because it all is accompanied, it all supports how I perform in the gym.
Well, I mean, you told
me. If I'm
me.
not sleeping well, if I'm not eating well, I'm going to show up to the gym and get beat up. I won't be able to perform optimally in the fight. I won't be able to have the focus required to be able to endure like a really tough fight or whatever it may be. But the fact that I've been able to find balance everywhere else has allowed me to be able to flourish more in the sport. And that's how I got to such a high level so quick.
Well, if I can mention this, you told me about your house. Can I say what you...
Yeah, that's fine.
It's a farm?
Yeah, well,
like
I live on a farmhouse,
yeah, so I would imagine that requires a lot of like maintenance, and you physically have to like engage yourself and just like to maintain the property. It's an active lifestyle is what I'm trying to say, right?
For sure. I mean, having land and having a property of your own that you built, I mean, I built my house myself as well. It's not easy. It's a full-time job just even taking care of my house. I live on a water well system. I don't have municipal gas. Everything I have has been built just for my property.
Wow.
Like I have a 150-foot well that I have to clean every 6 months. I have a septic tank that I have to take care of very often. I have lots of land that I need to take care of the landscaping, take care of everything. And it's just me. I got 3 kids with no family around to support me. It's just my wife and I that can take care of these kids. And it's not like I can tell my wife, hey, let's just go have a night out and go have a good night and have someone come watch the kids. There's none of that, and that's fine because I've already accepted this life, right? I did everything I wanted to do as a single man. I did everything I wanted to do without kids with my wife, and now that I have these kids, I'm very content with where I'm at, right? And I think that's a big thing is people put themselves in situations, because we put ourselves in every situation. People put themselves in situations that they can't handle. And it just overwhelms them. And because it overwhelms them, they lose track of being able to take care of themselves and their body and their mind and all that.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more question. Do you like movies?
Absolutely.
You know the movie Back to the Future?
Absolutely.
Let's say you jump into the DeLorean, okay? You jump into a car. You go back in time to a younger version of you, okay? What is one lesson that you would try to teach that version of you so that maybe you avoid an injury, or maybe you don't stress so easy, or maybe you kind of just have a different outlook in life? What is that one lesson?
So when I was a soccer player, I relied a lot on my natural born talent. I did not train anywhere nearly as hard as I train now.
So like your athleticism.
That's it. So that's what's helped me a lot in this sport is just the fact that I'm just a natural born athlete. You give me any sport and I can pick it up within a couple minutes and I can hang with anybody who's decent at the sport. I think I took that for granted when I was younger. And I did well playing soccer. I obviously got to kind of where I wanted to go. Obviously the dream was to play for Manchester United and all of that. Fell short due to injuries and whatnot. But if I could go back, it would definitely be to do what I'm doing now when I was 12, 11, 13 years old. And to kind of sidetrack from all, and this is something that my coach hears every single day, is I would have never played any other sport but boxing. I'd be a world champion today if I was boxing from a kid. And that's a fact. So that's the 2 biggest things that I would do. Take care of my body, treat the sport that I'm doing, treat the recovery that's required, treat the training that's required, the same as I'm doing now when I was a kid. That would have made a whole world of a difference in what I was doing then. And I wish I'd boxed my whole life.
Look, man, I appreciate your time. We're gonna figure something out where you're gonna take your efforts, your performance, and we're gonna figure out how to couple that with like the therapy that I can offer you at the clinic. And I think for a lot of athletes, willpower and effort is just one component, but what a lot of people miss is this competitive advantage rooted in recovery. If you can unlock that, if you think you're crushing it now, man, bro, you'll take it to that next level with some therapy and the right therapist. It's crazy.
I totally believe it.
To get this started, what I actually want to send you is I actually have a book that I'm releasing in the next, hopefully, a month.
Beautiful.
It's called The Stress Advantage. In that book, we dive into the idea of stress, of it being not just a bad thing, because stress has a bad reputation. Bro, you need stress to be able to grow. In the gym, you go to the gym and break muscle down. You have to load your body with stress
100%.
to be able to become stronger. So I have a book where I break down 6 examples of leaders in history, politicians, celebrities, of how they use stress and actually came out stronger. So I want to send you a copy.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Thank
okay.
you.
Thanks for your time, man. We'll figure this out, okay?
God bless.
Cool.
Thank you, sir.
Got it.